if you give air superiority, and I mean superiority to the Russians, whether it's combat helicopters, which have as their purpose to destroy tanks and Bradley vehicles and so forth, and jet superiority, where they have these fighter jets, you're going to lose a lot of hardware on the ground. You're going to lose a lot of soldiers. Putin has said that he wants Ukraine. Putin has said that he wants Poland. Putin has said that he wants Romania. Putin says he wants to eliminate NATO. I know what Putin wants. That's not good for us. That's not good for our allies. It's not good for the world. All you Putinoids are repulsive to me, to be perfectly honest. Not you, speaking to them. Anyway, here's a piece from CNN out front. They have about 30 shows a week, maybe one of two of which are worth anything. And this is pretty good. This is a matter of life and death. Ukrainian pilots say they need F-16s. Now, somehow this has become controversial. Well, why should we help them with F-16? Well, we're not, actually. It's our allies who've purchased these F-16s from us. Because, you know, we sell our stuff too, not just give it to the communist Chinese. And Poland and other allies, Finland, which was neutral during World War II, they're not neutral anymore. They all want to give their F-16s and the equivalent jets, if there are such, not really, but good jets, to help them defend their cities from the sky. Because the Ukrainians have a very limited air capacity when it comes to these jets. And so when they're knocked out of the sky or they have maintenance issues, they can't defend themselves. Meanwhile, they're still kicking Russia's ass, pretty much. Now, that said, they need their help. So Joe Biden's always a day late and a dollar short, except when it comes to he and his family receiving money from the communist Chinese. But take a look at this. This is a very serious news presentation. Go.
Ukrainian Su-25 attack aircraft given the go to assault Russian positions. Against all the odds, Ukraine's Air Force is still very much in the fight, pilot Alexei tells me.
Are you helping the ground forces now a lot in the south with the counteroffensive operation?
Yep.
The mission's extremely dangerous, especially for frontline attack aircraft. Ukraine's aces trying to keep Russian air defenses off balance.
We lost many young pilots from our brigade. This taught us to change something, and day by day we try to fly not the same as yesterday.
While Kiev says its counteroffensive is progressing, the battles are tough and gains hard to come by. The biggest threat, Ukraine says, Russian air power. This video purporting to show a Russian combat helicopter taking out a Ukrainian vehicle. The Ukrainians say Russian interceptor aircraft, like the advanced Su-35, often stop their old MiG-29 jets from operating near the front lines.
So they have these old Russian jets, as you can imagine, because they were part of the Soviet Union captive nations. And so they're using these old MiG-29s, and the Russians have their best jets up against their old jets, and you can see it's very difficult. Go ahead.
This MiG-29 pilot, who asked us to hide his face and use only his call sign Juice, tells me.
You can be like a maverick, but without a proper hardware, you can't win.
Here they go. There goes one.
The Ukrainians say they need F-16s from the U.S. and its allies to level the...
The F-16 is the greatest jet ever invented, ever developed. Now, we're making improvements on them. We have an F-35, we have so forth and so on, but as a base fighter jet, all the technology stolen by the Russians and the communist Chinese, it's based on the F-16 model. The F-16 has lasted a long time. Obviously, we've had to really increase its technological cutting-edge nature and so forth, but it has been an absolutely fantastic jet. Go ahead.
And to fully utilize the air-launched missiles the U.S. has already given them. In between the taxing wartime missions, pilots are already learning the basics of the F-16, hoping they'll be able to fly them in the future.
We are trying to improve our English skills. We are flying simulators. So at the moment we have improvised simulators of F-16 almost on all the bases.
The The pilots say for them, it's a matter of life and death. The attrition rate among combat aviators extremely high.
And what they mean by that is what you just saw. They're getting shot out of the sky. You know, we send all this armament and hardware to the Ukrainians, and then we wonder why another 10 billion, why another 12 billion, why? Well, if you give air superiority, and I mean superiority to the Russians, whether it's combat helicopters, which have as their purpose to destroy tanks and Bradley vehicles and so forth, and jet superiority, where they have these fighter jets, you're going to lose a lot of hardware on the ground. You're going to lose a lot of soldiers. And yet the Ukrainians are still fighting. These pilots know when they go up in the air, they have one arm tied behind their backs every damn time they go up. Go.
Both Alexei's squadron leader and his wingman killed in combat, he says.
When you see the explosion of your colleague by your eyes in real time, it's a shock to. It's a shocking picture, yeah. And the really big difficult in the situation, it's how to sit in aircraft again and again and again.
But when the call comes, they say they will be ready and back in the seat, taking the fight to the Russians.
You know, the problem they're going to have, and I'm just being perfectly honest with you, is they're going to run out of qualified, experienced pilots because they're getting killed. I mean, the technology that they're using, MiG-29s, I mean, it's just not, they can't keep up. The F-16 does. And so that's why Russia's worried to death about those F-16s. But you're Joe Biden, you're sitting there in the Oval Office, you're being briefed about this stuff. You keep pouring tens of billions of dollars into Ukraine. Folks out there, many of you wonder, well, gee, they keep pouring the money in. Well, if they're going to keep destroying our armaments because they have really no air cover, and the pilots go up there, and they're really going up there, if you really listen carefully early on in the interviews, they're going up there to attract the Russian jets so that their ground forces have an opportunity to fight the Russian ground forces. Okay, you're going up there, you're almost a sitting duck. And so these pilots are good. Number one, they're incredibly brave. But number two, they're good. They're going up against far superior weaponry in terms of these jets.
Want to see more Mark Levin? Go to levintv.com and subscribe now.